Is Phil Dixon. Phil S. Dixon is what I go by. I'm coming with another edition of This Day in African American Baseball History. Today is the November 30th, 2025 edition, and I guess this is the last one for the month. And so I think I've gone 30 consecutive days for sure. I think I did the same thing in October. I don't know if I missed a day, but I've tried to have a broadcast every day so that I can educate people on this history of the Negro baseball leagues. And more than that, it's Negro League baseball players and also pre-Negro League players. For most people, they wouldn't know this, but the Negro Leagues actually started in 1920, the Negro National League. And so what I've tried to do is enlighten you on those players as well as players that played before then. Some of the guys I talk about never even played in the league. They played regional ball. There were guys who would never leave home because, hey, when this baseball season was over, some guys didn't have anything to do, so their money would get awfully funny. So they decided to just stay home, play semi-professional baseball, never leave home. Some of them very, very good ball players too. Also tonight, I'm celebrating another thing, which is this would be my 201st broadcast. So since I come in about 4 months ago, I have pumped these airways with information. So I hope that you're having a good time. I know I am. Seem like every time I come on, I'm taking a trip down memory lane, thinking about things I haven't thought about in years, talking about people, places, activities that I don't get a chance to talk about often enough. I'll just put it that way. Throws a little scratchy tonight, but we're going through a lot of weather changes here in the Midwest. It seems like every time the weather changes, it catches me. So, so I get a chance to talk about all those guys, and I do a number of speaking engagements around the country, and whenever I go to a different city, it gives me an opportunity to talk about something that occurred in that city. So in this case, when I come on here, I can talk about whatever. I don't have to be in a particular city, but if something happened on that date that I can talk about, a person, place, a thing, I will make comments on it. So if you're joining me tonight, if you can do this, if you'll just let me know what city you're coming from, that you're listening from, that's great, because some of you guys have some of these really unique online names. I'd like to call your name, but man, it takes me a while to try to figure it out. So, but if you tell me your city, that's a lot easier. So just tell me your city. You can tell me your city. If you don't want to go specifically your city, you can go to your state or your country. All right. So, all right then. So somebody said, joining me from the UK. All right then. Well, first of all, I'm coming from Kansas City. And of course, Kansas City is home to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And in case you don't know what the Negro Leagues is, I don't know how much information they're giving you over in the UK, but at one time, what we call the American and National League professional baseball, they did not allow African American players to play. So African American players formed their own leagues, and those leagues eventually picked up the name of the Negro Leagues. So that is kind of the history on that. So I tell you what, why don't we just jump in and give you the first historic fact from November 30th. So this is November 30th, 1923. So when Wiley College met Bishop College for the first time since 1918, 3,000 fans showed up at the Marshall College field to witness a 7-6 Wiley victory. The big scoring play was a pass from Grady Orange, O-R-A-N-G-E, to John Hines, H-I-N-E-S, and that put the points on the board. And then Orange, the quarterback, also kicked the extra point, and that gave them the 7-6 victory, and that was over Bishop College. Interesting thing, guys. When I graduated high school, I had a scholarship to play music at Bishop College, and I did not take that scholarship I ended up going on the road as a professional musician. I played trumpet, still play trumpet. If you look back through some of my lives and some of my shorts, you'll see me, playing lightweight stuff like "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and I've even played the national anthem around different parks and things like that. So I see somebody calling, checking in, and from Brazil. All right then, all right. I love that. I love that. Now we can just get some Americans to join us. We'll be all right, right? So, all right. So let's break that down. Let's break this game down. Okay. So once again, I didn't go to Bishop College, but it was in Texas. I should have went. I ended up paying for my own education. I didn't take the scholarship, but I still play trumpet and still love to play the trumpet. One of these days, I'm gonna pick my horn up and play it actually while we're here. Okay. So Grady Orange. Grady Orange was an outstanding baseball player, football player. So he's playing quarterback on the Wiley University team that was coached by Fred Long, who was also a baseball football guy as well, who was their coach. And in this particular game, Grady Orange, now I have to tell you this, he ended up being Dr. Grady Orange because he went to Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. So he became a doctor as well. So a lot of people maybe not know that Meharry Medical College is in Nashville, right across the campus from Fisk University, and many doctors came through there. African American doctors, actually, more African American doctors came through Meharry than probably any other institution that is in existence today. Actually, I had a dentist for years, Dr. Shine, who was a graduate of Meharry. So these people were all over our community. Grady Orange ends up playing with the Kansas City Monarchs. He also, and I'm wearing a Kansas City Monarch jersey now, and then he also ended up playing with the Detroit Stars. And later on, Grady Orange was killed in a house fire, and he was down back in Texas. So outstanding, multi-talented athlete. Also, John Hines. John Hines, who he threw the pass to, ended up playing for the Chicago American Giants. So he played for Rube Foster, another person who played in the Negro National League. But you notice on this particular day, November 30th, 1923, they're playing football, and they're playing college football. I plan to do this, and I probably will do it maybe the first or second week of November. I'm going to give you my all Negro League college football team. I'm gonna give you the entire team. All right, and this is a team I put together, and I will just kind of go back and talk about some of these guys' careers. And there's some great players. Jackie Robinson would be on there. But he was quite the quarterback and running back, and I can think of a bunch of guys. I've been talking about them all month because there was so many people who played multi sports in the Negro Leagues. All right, a lot of college guys. All right, so that was a Wiley College, and Wiley is still there today. Bishop College is no longer in existence, and of course, both of those colleges were what they called HBCUs, and those are historically black college and universities, and that's where most of the African American students went. When many of your mainstream colleges would not allow an African American to attend. All right, so we educated our own people. Just know that. All right, let's go to another one. November the 30th, 1941. Let's see. I tell you what, I'm going to skip over that one, and I'm going to come back to that one. Let me come back to that one. Okay, we're going to jump over to another one. And by the way, guys, thanks for joining. I appreciate that. I don't know how long you'll stay, but I do want to thank the guy from UK and also the Brazil. And if there's anybody else in there, feel free to say something. All right, so also November 30th, 1949, riding high on Reese Goose Tatum's 15 points. The Harlem Globetrotters captured their 34th straight win with a 52-44 victory over the Philadelphia, I'm going to spell this out, SPHAS, a team at Chicago Stadium in Illinois. Tatum is also a baseball player for the Indianapolis Clowns during the summer months. So I don't know how much you know about Reese Goose Tatum. I was talking to Pamela Page, which is Satchel Page's daughter, and she was talking about how Tatum would come, and sometime he'd come to the Page house, and he might stay for a couple of weeks. He was really good friends with Satchel Paige. We were talking about Booker McDaniel too, who also pitched for the Monarchs. Good friends with Satchel Paige, and so sometimes these guys they would come and they would spend the night, or they would be back the next day. So once again, if you're joining me, and just let me know where you're joining from. That's good. So that would help. All right. So Reese Goose Tatum, he is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, what they call the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. So just want to let you know that this is an outstanding player getting some recognition. And these other guys, Grady Orange and John Hines, they're yet to get their recognition. So we hope that we can change that through these broadcasts. We need to start by getting these guys at least in their state Hall of Fame. Maybe their school Hall of Fame. If we can do these kind of things, we can bring recognition to these men. And we don't want to let their legacy die, because it's just a shame that I didn't know about these players on a name-to-name basis when I was collecting baseball cards as a young kid, because they were never featured, never talked about. So I've been working for 45 years to change that. All right. So let's go. So we got a baseball player playing football, baseball players, and then we got a baseball player playing basketball. So here's a guy just played baseball right through the middle here. Now, November 30th, 1961. This guy's still around with us, and his name is Billy Williams. He was age 23 in 1961. He played for the Chicago Cubs at that time, and he was selected as the National League's Rookie of the Year, and he received 10 of the 16 votes needed by the Baseball Writers Association of America. He batted .278 in 146 games, and hitting 20 doubles, 7 triples, and 25 home runs, drove in 86 runs. That's Billy Williams. And that's what started it off. And Billy Williams ended up being in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. He's still with us. And so just let you know and remind you that Billy Williams, an outstanding athlete, came out of Whistler, Alabama. There were some great ball players came out of Whistler, Alabama. Actually, that's right by Mobile, Alabama. So right in that Whistler, Mobile area. I know Amos Otis came out of that area. Willie McCovey, Showboat Thomas came out of there. A couple of the Williams brothers, Hank Aaron came out of there. I'm gonna probably think of more if I just spend a little more time thinking. Those are just some that I just rattle right off the top of my head here. But yeah, that was a hotbed for outstanding baseball players. I think Cleon Jones came from there. Somebody help me out on that one. You probably got your computer. Check on Cleon Jones. He's from around in that area as well. So that's a great hotbed for baseball. All right. So in my broadcast, I usually do a coming and a going. Now, a coming is somebody who is born on this date. A going is someone who passed away on this date. So let's start with the going, okay? So the going is going to be Walter Stillarm Davis. And he was killed in the Indiana Inn in Chicago, Illinois. And man, this guy was an outstanding player. Outstanding player. When I wrote my book, The Negro Baseball League's Photographic History, I was able to find some really good photographs of him that I was able to feature in that book. And I have several other ones that I don't think I've ever used before, but certainly his years with the Gilchrist Union Giants, and of course the pictures that I had came from Maurice Doolittle Young, who was with the Gilchrist Union Giants, who I interviewed, and then also who was that? Eddie Dwight. Now, Eddie Dwight had passed, but Miss Dwight was a big fan of mine and a neighbor of ours. And so she let me use some of the photographs. Of course, Walter Stillarm Davis was in some of those photographs. Now, I think I did get something from George Giles as well. But yeah, I remember one game, actually a couple of games stand out. 1934, He played against Dizzy Dean as a member of the Kansas City Monarchs, and he wasn't a regular member of the Monarchs. They brought him in special to play for the Monarchs when they played Dizzy Dean. Played first base. He also, actually, no, he didn't play first base. I think he would have been an outfielder there. But in addition to that, uh, they also brought Ted Trent in as well. And so Ted Trent, those guys weren't normally with the Monarchs, but they were with the KC team when they played the 6 games against the Deans, Dizzy and Daffy Dean in 1934, after they had such a great major league season with the Detroit Tigers, where two brothers won over 50 games. So, yeah, so he was part of that. But before Stillorm joined the team, he was playing with an all-star team up in the upper Midwest, and they had put together a team to travel in that area. Jimmy Fox was on that team, I remember. And so they played up around Valley City, North Dakota, Bismarck. I think they played a couple of games in Jamestown. I think they even went into Canada. But there was one game, and I can't remember the pitcher who was pitching, but he was somebody from the American National League, and Stillorm Davis hit 2 home runs off of this guy. Not one, but 2. This is 1934. This is before the Monarchs picked him up, and he finished the season with the Monarchs. So he was just a great player. Started off in Texas as a pitcher. So I do have some great files on him. And I always like to tell the story. I was interviewing a lady once, and she said, hey, I know somebody who knows a lot about Stillorm Davis. And so she made a phone call, and she handed me the telephone. And this was when we were using landlines. We didn't even have a cell phone back then. We're talking about 1980. And the lady began to tell me about Walter Stillorm Davis, because she had dated him. And interesting thing was, they never told me who the lady was. So the person who made the call said, I'm not going to tell you who it is. And then the lady who answered the phone didn't tell me who she was, but she gave me a lot of really good information about Walter Stillorm Davis. I had my pencil and I was writing it down. And so I have information that I probably never really shared. I probably should pull that file. Maybe I'll do a special spotlight on Walter Stillorm Davis. He was that good. He was that good, guys, I'm telling you. So we'll go ahead, and he passed away on this date, November 30th, 1941, at the Indiana Inn. And that was a place where a lot of ball players hung out in Chicago, the Indiana Inn. All right. So, okay. So, and also, that's someone who was going on this day. How about someone coming? And November the 30th, 1904, Dixon, a second baseman who served as a member of many teams over a 20-year career with time off for World War II, while playing for such teams as the Newark Eagles, Pittsburgh Crawfords, Philadelphia Stars, New York Black Yankees, and he was born on this day in West New York, New Jersey. Now, I've never been to that particular city, West New York, New Jersey. I'd like to know how that is situated. I'm going to have to look at my map. And maybe somebody's already done this. Now, I live in the Midwest. And so where we live in Kansas City, there's a Kansas City, Missouri, and a Kansas City, Kansas that border each other. And so on the end of the state, on the other end of the state, there's a East St. Louis, Illinois, and St. Louis, Missouri that border each other. So I'm thinking that is the case there, but I don't know that. So maybe somebody else does. All right. Say, hey, I'm learning just like you are. All right. So that's where he was born. Now, they say that he was part of the $1 Million infield with Newark, New Jersey. And that infield consisted of Mill Suttles at first base, Dixie at second base, Willie Wells at shortstop, and Ray Dandridge on third base. They call that the $1 Million infield. And so when you talk about $1 Million infield, you're talking about when $1 million really meant something, right? So evidently, he played on some pretty good teams. But I started thinking about that. Can I think of an infield that was better than that infield? The first one that comes to my mind, and there's got to be more. I just have to really maybe get my pencil out and get some of my research out. But the first one I think about is the 1931 Homestead Grays, who had Oscar Charleston on first base, George Scales on second base, and who they have on third base? Second shortstop. Shortstop was Jake Stevens. Jake Stevens out of York, Pennsylvania, at shortstop, and then Judd Wilson on third base. Now I tell you what, that had to be one of the hardest hitting infields of all time. I don't know. There's probably some more. There's probably some more. And I know when I was growing up, guys, remember, now I'm growing up and we're hearing all these things about the American and National League. And so we were hearing about Tinkers, the Evers, the Chance. Tinkers, the Evers, the Chance. Frank Chance on first base, the Cubs. And, we heard that. And actually, there was a trivia question. So who was the third baseman on the Tinkers, the Evers, the Chance infield? Do you know the answer to that? Do you know the answer to that? That's a great trivia question. I know the answer. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody listening here is a baseball fan. They can chime in here real quick. But yeah, I know the answer. Hopefully you do too as a baseball fan. But if you don't, how about Harry Steinfeld? That's who it was. So anyway, this is a little bit of history for tonight. And I will say this. I never got a chance to interview Dick C. Most of what I learned about Dick C came from people like Bob Thurman, who played with him in Winter League Baseball, because he went down to Puerto Rico, C did, and played Winter League Baseball. So that's where I've got my information about C. Willard Brown was with him, another person I interviewed who gave me information. So, I wish I would have had a chance to interview Dick C. I think it would have been a fabulous interview. But hey, I missed some guys, but you'll be surprised who I did interview. And some of the people I'm talking about, even on that infield, I interviewed Willie Wells. I interviewed Willie Wells, who played right alongside, and Ray Dandridge. How about that? Both of those guys. So this is kind of my wrap on the day. It's been great celebrating over 200 broadcasts, guys. And this has been in 4 months. So I've been working my ass off, putting down information. And hopefully you're enjoying this. And if you do, be sure to subscribe and come back. And I will keep laying down this information as long as you keep wanting it. And so the subscribers keep coming in a little bit at a time. And but I'm going to keep on. And one of these days, I'm going to do something. I'm going to really test a while. I'm going to do something that may go viral. And then people will go back, maybe look at all these broadcasts and say, hey, man, who is this guy? I will tell you this, as we start 2026, I usually start presenting around Martin Luther King's birthday, and then I present all through the year. I know I plan to be at the All-Star game in Philadelphia this year, in case anybody is following out there, or someone out in Philadelphia, you want to start having them follow me now so they'll know when I get out there. So, but I'm starting my first speaking engagement. It'll be in the state of Kansas. They've already booked me there during Black History Month. So guys, that kind of concludes it. I am really happy to have made 200 broadcasts, and that includes the lives and the shorts and the videos that I put up. So I want to thank everybody for their support. And this is Phil Dixon, and this is the last day of the month, guys. November the 30th, 2025 edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. And let me see. So tomorrow is going to be December the 1st. Guys. Let me see. Oh, man, I'm looking at what we have for tomorrow. Oh, man, it's something about Cannonball Dick ranting and something. Oh, man, I've got some good stuff tomorrow. So these are going to be good facts and feats. So you want to join us again, and we'll keep this conversation going. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, guys, by all means, go ahead and send me your questions or put them in the chat, and we will follow up on it. So I do want to thank, I guess, the people the furthest away from the UK and the Brazil. That's great. So, all right, guys, and if you listen later and you pick this broadcast up, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this kind of information, If you're a baseball fan and maybe you can't get any baseball information, maybe you're tired of watching reruns on the Major League Baseball channel, here's another place you can come. All right. So we do this every night. So thank you guys. I'm out of here. I usually try to keep it about 20 minutes. I'm about 24 minutes. So I'm about 4 minutes over my, I guess my great time. So we'll go ahead and conclude it there. And we'll make this the beginning of the end of the 200 broadcast. And now we're on our way to 300 broadcasts. And we're going to go and we're on our way to 400 subscribers. So hopefully this month we'll get both of those coming up. And I'm going to keep on talking baseball as long as you want it. Thank you guys. You have a nice evening. And I will see you again real soon.